While most new home nightmares involve bad building and structural issues, sometimes the problem isn't so much how the property was built, but rather what it was built on. Southridge Hills, Arlington, Texas, the site of 587 houses constructed by one of the nation's largest home builders, KB Home.
It definitely does.
In 2001, Angela and Richard King eagerly snapped up one of the brand new homes.
When I walked through the door the first time, I was ecstatic. I mean, it was the greatest feeling in the world to finally own a home.
Weeks after moving in, Richard and his then 8-year-old daughter Brittany came across something of a surprise in their backyard.
I had no idea what it was. I just thought it was a rock or just another piece of trash.
I had run the rake over a certain area of the ground and caught the back end of the bomb.
Yes, he did just say bomb. An MK-23 miniature practice bomb, to be exact, in their newly built backyard.
He popped the bomb out and he had told me it was a bomb, and I was shocked. I was very scared.
I never would have imagined to find an unexploded bomb in my backyard, let alone to have my child find one.
If that wasn't disturbing enough, Richard King found a second practice bomb by the garden shed. He decided to do some research. He learned that Southridge Hills had been built on a practice bombing range used during World War II.
Our house was the bullseye. It was the bullseye for the bombers, and it was right here.
But the Kings say this fact was never disclosed to them.
Nobody knew anything. It wasn't in anything we had received from KB, and nobody ever mentioned it.
Fearful parents kept their children out of their backyards.
You know, it's very uncommon that you hear somebody saying, go play in the street, but that's what we had to tell our children to do.
I barely went out in the backyard anymore.
In June this year, the Army Corps of Engineers began sweeping the land for practice bombs. Using metal detectors, they flagged potential hotspots and then dug down to see what they could find. Dwayne Ford is overseeing the project. What's the most you've ever found on a single property?
In one property here we found 19.
19?
19.
In total, the Army Corps found 187 inert practice bombs and 58 potentially live ones in Southridge Hills and the adjacent property. Our cameras were there when they located one.
We have a bingo.
None of the devices have exploded, and it's unknown whether they still could, but the Army Corps is taking no chances. This reinforced explosive safe is where they keep the potentially live ones.
Can I just get one out?
No, we don't want to handle those.
Really? I can't just get one out?
No, we don't want to handle those.
Why not?
If they're mishandled for any reason, they could potentially detonate and could injure somebody.
According to Ford, when they were dropped, each practice bomb contained as much gunpowder as a shotgun shell.
It would be powerful enough to blow off a child's hand, for example.
That's correct. They probably wouldn't be lethal, but you could, if they were mishandled, then you could lose an eye, lose a finger, get burned with them.
The Army Corps checked both the King's land and that of their neighbor, Ricardo Camacho.
There was one right around here.
Around here?
Yes. Right under the trampoline, there was another one.
2.
3 right here, and 4.
How did it make you feel about the house you'd bought?
When I walked in, I said, this is my home. This is my dream home. And it's just been a nightmare. It's been very hard to cope, day by day, because you don't know if one day something is going to blow up.
The King and Camacho families have joined a class action lawsuit against KB Home. KB wouldn't talk to us on camera, but did provide written statements saying before building they had been assured that no hazardous materials were present on the site. KB Home has sued the prior landowner and their environmental consultant. The prior landowner has tried to sue the Army Corps of Engineers. While blame is being passed around, the Army Corps concluded its sweep of the land.
Would you buy a house here?
Can we, let me...
He went on to say that for the right price, he would buy a house there.
Even if there were bombs beneath the garden, the backyard, the front yard?
Knowing what the Corps of Engineers is doing with respect to the ordnance removal work, I know that the risk has been greatly, greatly reduced.
KB Homes says prior use of the Southridge Hills site has had no impact on house prices. That's cold comfort for the homeowners we spoke to and their children.
It was kind of weird to tell my friends that I had a bomb in my backyard.